Hey guys, Francis here. Welcome to my building coach. Now, if you're planning a home extension, what are you going to be spending your budget on aside from the building work? In my experience, home extensions often go over budget simply because homeowners don't know the answer to that question. So I'm going to show you how much of your budget you're actually going to spend on the building work and what other costs are involved. So let's start with an example of a £100,000 budget, just to make it simple. The first thing you're going to spend money on is getting plans drawn. And after that, you've got several other costs that all come under professional fees and permissions. So starting with an architect, and then you've got things like planning permission, a surveyor, a party wall agreement, an engineer, a building control application. And at this stage, 10% of your total budget is a reasonable estimate to cover fees and permissions. So that's £10,000 out of your 100 grand budget. The second thing you need to consider is contingency. So what is contingency? Contingency is basically a pot of money that is not included in your overall budget to be used during construction when something goes wrong or something unexpected happens. In my 20 plus years of doing this, I don't think I've come across an extension project that didn't need to spend at least some of their contingency budget during construction. And I'd say it's mainly because the building work always includes some renovation to the original house, as well as building the new extension. And the risk of something unforeseen happening during renovation that is going to cost you money you didn't want to spend is much higher than just building the new extension. So my recommendation is that you put to one side a minimum of 10% of your whole budget in a separate bank account that you can't accidentally spend, and don't include that 10% as part of your overall budget. That money is just there for emergencies. And if you're lucky and you reach the end of your project without needing it, then you can spend a little extra on your kitchen or your bathroom or your flooring. But I would almost guarantee that it will not be left over, at least not all of it. So taking that 10% contingency out of your total budget leaves you with £80,000. That's 80% of your budget to build and finish your extension. But before you get plans drawn, you need to break that figure down a little bit further, starting with fit and finish, which is everything internal, like decorating, lighting, heating, floor covering, and your new kitchen or your new bathroom. Now, depending on whether you're fitting a kitchen or a bathroom or not, your fit and finish budget will be somewhere around 20 to 30% of your entire budget. So let's say you are fitting a kitchen and a bathroom, you're having underfloor heating and you're paying someone to do the decorating. That's easily going to be 30% of your 100 grand budget spent on the fit and finish. So taking that 30% off brings your total remaining down to £50,000, which is what you've got left to build the shell of your extension. Yeah, the foundations, the walls, floors, roof, windows, and doors. Now, there are two more things to consider as well as the construction, which are site-specific costs and landscaping. Now, I'm going to do a video specifically about site-specific costs, so I'm only going to run through them briefly here. But site-specific costs are things that will push your costs up that you may not be aware of. They are things like sloping ground, relocating or replacing a boiler, moving a gas meter or an electricity meter so they're accessible once your extension is finished. Any of those kinds of things can potentially add several £1,000s to your overall budget. The final thing you need to think about is landscaping. So if you picture an area around your extension, roughly 2 or 3 meters out from where it will be built, that bit of land will almost certainly need landscaping once your extension's done, because during the building work, it will have been driven over by diggers, walked all over by your builders. It'll have scaffolding on it and materials stored on it. So once your extension is built, that bit of land will need some work to turn it back into a garden, a path, a patio, or a driveway. So you need to set aside some money to pay for that work, or you'll reach the end of your project and you'll run out of money. You'll have a beautiful extension on the inside, but on the outside, it'll still look like a building site. So once you've taken off all those costs, you've taken off fees and permissions, contingency, fit and finish, site-specific costs, and landscaping, What you've got left is your construction budget, which is how much you can actually afford to spend building the shell of your extension, which is, the walls, floors, roof, windows, doors. And that amount is only going to be around £40,000 to £50,000 out of your £100,000 budget. Knowing that you can only afford to spend 40 to 50% of your budget on construction, and that you'll spend another 20 to 30% on fit and finish, is going to save you a lot of stress and hassle later on. Because if you take those figures to an architect or a designer and get plans drawn, then you've got a far better chance of keeping your extension on budget than most homeowners, because you're going to get plans drawn for an extension you can actually afford to build. If you found this helpful, then like and subscribe for more home extension advice. Take care.